So now we get to loan amortization, which is hard to say sometimes. Um, this should be important to you because if you don't already have a house mortgage, one day you probably will. If you make extra principal payments, you can use an amortization schedule to see how much sooner you will pay off your house. These schedules can be used for any type of loan, like car loans and business loans. Usually a spreadsheet is the best way to build an amortization schedule. However, we have a short example here. Let's assume that you borrow $1,000 at a 4% rate with 3 equal payments. The first step is just to solve for what the annual payment amount is. Here we should enter 3, it's a 3-year loan at 4% interest rate for I. We're borrowing $1,000, so it's 1,000 here. Future value, we should pay off the loan, so it should be 0. And we solve for the payment of $360.35. That's our annual payment amount. It's kind of an odd loan because we're only paying annually, but that's what it would be for this example. Now, to get the second step is to find the interest that you're really paying out of your payment for year 1. And so you just take the beginning balance of the loan, $1,000 times 4%, and you get $40. Then we can figure out which part of the payment of $360.35 is paying down the actual principal of the $1,000 that we borrowed. We just subtract the $40 from the payment. So principal being paid down is $320.35. And so then our ending balance for the principal amount that we owe would be the 1,000 minus the number we just got, 320.35, and we have an ending loan balance of $679.65. And if for some reason we had this amount of money right now, we could just pay off the loan and be done with it. But I think we're assuming that we're not done. And so here's what the whole schedule would look like. This was just the first year, the numbers that we got. They kind of rounded the numbers. The second year, you can see that the beginning balance of the principal was that ending balance we had from before, so we just bring it over, $680. And to get the interest expense for the next year, we just multiply 4% times 680, and you get $27. And then if we subtract 27 from 360, the principal we paid down that time is $333. And then if we take the 680 minus the 333, we get the 347. And you can see in the final year, we'll get our final interest payment amount, the payment, we paid off the last of the principal balance, and we have the ending balance of 0 because we paid off our loan. Now, this is a small interest rate and small dollar amount in this example, but it could be very large for a house mortgage. For example, you could end up paying $100,000 in interest for a $150,000 home. The tax implications are that when you get a higher interest expense deduction, you get an the tax implications are that you get a higher interest expense deduction in earlier years on a loan, like a home mortgage. In later years, you pay less interest and get less of a tax deduction. But that's no reason to go into debt and getting a big mortgage. It's just because you get a tax write-off. And then this is just a chart that illustrates the table in the previous slide. This shows the changing components in terms of interest expense being higher at the beginning and lower at the end, and principal pay down being lower at the beginning and higher at the end. And this one was just for that 3-year loan that we looked at. So this is the end of the Chapter 5 PowerPoint slides.